I like OF a lot. I enjoy posting myself. It's fun. I like talking to fans, but I am stepping back from doing.
Yeah.
I've
So
decided.
what shifted? What changed?
Over the past few months, I've become really unhappy and regretting certain decisions that I've made.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Like regretting just like making that kind of content or like just
There's so many different factors. The first one is my parents. My parents, it took a while for them to be proud of me. I don't think they like what I do, and that's like hard not being.
Oh, so you don't think your parents are happy about the fact that you're showing yourself naked, having intercourse, recording yourself having intercourse with multiple random people? What a surprise that your parents are not going to be happy about that. Hello, guys. Welcome or welcome back to the Talk Podcast. I'm gonna let the clip run for a bit and then come right back and do some commenting.
Yeah, it makes sense. I can
Yeah.
see I personally wouldn't want my child to get into sex work.
Yeah.
I've been blessed. I haven't had too many bad experiences working with other people, but I think that's a rarity. I think a lot of girls in the industry do have bad experiences, and so that's why I wouldn't want my child to become
Yeah.
involved with it. I don't have sex in my free life, but in my like actual day-to-day life or anything.
Really?
Like with normal people, no. Any sex that I have is on camera. And it's not that much. Like people, it's weird because the internet thinks that I'm like crazy and I'm out like fucking everyone, but I really don't have sex that often at all.
Yeah, unless you're at this performing.
Yeah. And I don't, that's the thing, I don't want it to be like that anymore. Because
Yeah.
I think I lost track of like, sex is special and I want to be able to experience that again.
Yeah, the intimacy in it and
yeah.
not just like the performance of it.
Yeah. Just being bombarded, the bigger and bigger I get, the more hate I receive. And that's like really gets to me and has been really getting to me the past few months. And also I think I've become really desensitized to sex and relationship. It's a lot of different things. It's worrying about who will take me serious is a big thing. The quality of men that are like into me has gone down because like they don't want to be seen with a girl that's on the internet having sex.
Yeah.
So that's been hard.
Do you think they're wrong for that or does that make sense to
No,
you?
I don't think they're wrong at all. I don't think there's anything wrong with not wanting to be with someone that has done porn.
Yeah.
I think that's completely understandable.
Yeah.
So I don't blame anyone else but myself.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So, hello, welcome or welcome back to the Talk Podcast. You guys have seen it, you have heard it, and I think there's a lot to talk about on this clip, on this young woman sharing her thoughts and her experience when it comes to being an adult content creator, how they like to call it. Basically, she is, recording herself, doing the business, having intercourse with different people, recording it and selling it on the internet. And one of the platforms that she talked about that she's using is OnlyFans, which has been quite a big thing over the last few years. It kind of came out of nowhere and it's been, attracting a lot of young women to join into it. But that's a whole topic for another day. And it seems that she is looking to step out of this industry, which I personally think it's a great choice. There's no reason for you to tap into that industry at the first place. Like, why would you want to do that? And there were so many things that she talked about that are actually true, but a lot of women don't want to talk about it because why? It would force them to be accountable and more responsible about the choices that they have made or that they are making. And, we don't really like that. So one thing for sure is her parents, her family are not really agreeing to what they're doing. It's not something that parents are going to hear or see their children, their daughter doing and think, wow, we are so proud of you. This is what we want to, talk to other people about what you're doing. This is what we want to celebrate. No, it's actually really shameful. And not only that is shameful, I think for parents, they get really scared and worried about the situation that their children are putting themselves in. Because, I mean, tapping into an industry like that, I think it can really turn out very dangerous and harmful. And, you know, it comes with a lot of backlash for sure. And you having intercourse with people you don't know, right? I'm hoping that they are protecting themselves. But I have heard some stories of people coming out with their stories and saying, look, they have, you know, got some diseases while being in that industry. So there's a lot that comes along with tapping into that space. It's not good. And on the long run, what do you gain from it? You might be able to make a quick buck in a short period of time, but that's it. You're ruining your reputation. You're ruining your family's reputation. If you do have children in the future, it's also not going to be a good look for your children. You're completely detached and desensitized to relationships and intimacy when it comes to being in a relationship, which she also talked about. But let's keep going. So now we have understand that her family, you know, the closest people around her are not really supportive of what she's doing. And she actually understands why. And moving on, she says she wouldn't want her daughter to tap into that industry. She has had not that much of bad experience, a few bad experiences. She is sure other people has had like really tremendous amount of bad experiences. But if I listen to that and I'm like hearing someone saying, yeah, I am in this industry, but I'm lucky enough not to have gotten into so many bad experiences, but you have had some, like how much is too much? How many bad experiences have you had for you to say, okay, now it's enough? And what does that actually mean with having bad experiences, right? Is it abuse? Is it the shame and the disgrace afterwards? I don't know. I don't want to tap into that too much. But overall, I want to say that's just another thing that people, young women, need to think about before going into that, right? I think they just look at the money that they can make, but not really understanding the circumstances that they are putting themselves in. And also this interaction with the fans, the so-called fans who are paying for you. Just, I think a year or two ago, there were a bunch of stories of women being attacked from those so-called fans because they started feeling entitled to you, to your time, because they're paying you to entertain them. And some of them were stalked, or, you know, there are crazy people out there, believe it or not, but they are crazy people out there. And you're actually putting yourself in that position and telling those crazy people, look, here I am. Why don't you come look me up or stuff like that? It's insane. I'm not condoling or saying, yeah, this is the right thing. They should go through that bad experience. That's not what I'm saying. But you need to understand in what position you are putting yourself in, right? Like there need to be a sense of accountability and a sense of responsibility with what you're doing and the choices you're making. So up to this point, there's a lot of proof why it's actually a bad idea, right? You're feeling ashamed, your family's ashamed, and you're actually really sure about the fact that you wouldn't want your daughter to tap into that, right? So it just doesn't make sense. You're doing it, but you wouldn't want your child to do it. It actually speaks volume that you understand very much that what you've been doing or what you are doing is not the greatest thing to do. It's a bad choice. It's not something you would advise someone else to do, especially when that person is your own child. Moving on, talking about how she has experienced her sexual life, and it seems like no one is actually interested in getting to know her in the real world. And she understands that because that is a consequence and a negative outcome that you are going to face if you choose to become a woman who's in the adult industry, right? Most men, most respectable, responsible men who have their life going on the right way are not going to be interested to be in a relationship with you and take that relationship publicly. They don't want to deal with all the negativity that comes along with it. They don't want to, and actually most men don't want to deal with a woman who's been, I'm going to say it, unfortunately, passed around or would willingly put herself in that position to be passed around sexually by multiple men, and now he's going to be the one who's going to carry all that baggage and treat you like a wife. That's not how it works. And this is exactly her experience. People in the real life are not interested in being together in a relationship with her, or even having sexual relations in the real world. The only time she experienced that is when she's, acting, when she's in that scenario, recording herself for the content that she's trying to sell to other people. And if you think about it, that's actually a sad life. You're a young woman, you're in your prime, you should be able to date, you should be able to, experience love, you should be able to be in a committed relationship. And what I found really interesting is completely different to what you would hear from a lot of other women who are in that industry, the delusion that they like to use to cover up and not be accountable. She actually understands the choices that she has made, and she actually understands the reaction that she's getting from men. Like, there's no judgment or no gaslighting trying to trick this man into buying a product, if I can say it that way, that has been used for a price that is new. It doesn't make sense. So she understands that. She knows why men are more repulsed to being with her in a relationship. She understands why men are not looking to take her seriously, because you have put yourself as a woman in a position where men are not going to respect you. You have put yourself in a position where you're now in a transactional situation, or where you only are seen in transactional relationships, where you meet someone, you do the business, you record it, there's money involved, and you're hoping to make more money out of that. So any man who is in his right mind, who is responsible, who has a reputation, and who has worked in his life to become the best person he can be, who has something to lose, is not going to want to deal with a woman who is in that industry. And the same thing goes for women who are strippers, or your so-called Instagram models who are always showing themselves in a highly promiscuous way. It's really just not a good look for you. You're literally putting yourself in a bad position. You might enjoy the attention that you're getting. Well, I don't know why someone would enjoy that type of attention, but to each his own. But you might be enjoying the attention you're getting in the moment. You might be enjoying the money you're making in the moment, but it's going to have its limit, right? At some point, it's going to stop. It's not going to feel right. And even if you want to keep going in that industry, at some point you might have to stop. You're forced to stop, because you might not be what they want to see anymore, because every year there's a new girl who's younger and hotter than you who's trying to come into that industry, which it's unfortunate, but that's how it is. There's always going to be someone else who's going to replace you, even though it's the worst industry to be in. Clip, very interesting. And I would wish that women see this and actually think about it again. Like, sit down and think about it. Is this really what I want to do? Is this really worth it? Do I want to put myself, my family, my future children in this position of shame and guilt, and, having to carry all this hate, backlash, and having to put myself in a bad and dangerous scenario for me to make money? Is this really what I want to do? To ask themselves, is this really what you want in life? To put yourself in a position where you're automatically taking yourself out from any other positive experience that you can get in life, especially when it comes to being with someone, sharing life with someone, because most people are repulsed. I think a lot of people who would watch it or pay you, they're just enjoying it in the moment, but no one is going to be walking around the world and say, hey, look, this is what I did today. I'm following this girl and I'm paying her to, satisfy my fantasy, or whatever the case may be. No one is going to be in that position of actually celebrating you. It's always behind closed doors. It's always hidden, right? So I think for people who've been joining into this, and, they like to talk about the money that they're making. And since a year now, it's been coming out more and more that it's a scam. The people are actually not making that big money that they're claiming to make, even though, even the celebrities who have tapped into that, were lying about the money that they're making. It's actually not true. And if you think about it, it's a bubble that's going to bust at some point. At some point, the few ones who were in it might have been making good money, but if suddenly there's a large amount of women who are running into that platform, how many people are actually still making money, right? And it's not something that you can say, okay, I'm going to grow and, scale up. No, you can actually just grow and becoming more degrading, more extreme, and doing things that are going to force you to become someone that you maybe never wanted to be. So why do it in the first place? However, guys, I hope you enjoy. See you in the next one. Bye.